Lesson 3 for October 12 to 18, God's Call, read by Dr. Percy Harold. Tuesday, October 15, the 70 weeks and the 2,300 days. The word determined, found in Daniel 9:24, 70 weeks are determined, literally means 70 weeks are cut off. Although the word translated as determined is not used anywhere else in the Bible, it is found in Jewish literature and it means cutting off from something longer. Since Daniel 8 presents the 2,300-year prophecy, whose starting point is not given in Daniel 8, it logically follows that when the next chapter, Daniel 9, talks about 490 years as determined or cut off, they can be cut off only from the 2,300 prophetic years mentioned in the previous chapter. After all, what else could this period be cut off from but another and longer time prophecy? Question. Read Daniel chapter 8. What was the one part of the vision given that was not explained? Daniel 8, beginning at verse 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared to me, Daniel, after the one that appeared to me the first time. I saw in the vision, and it so happened, while I was looking, that I was in Shushan, the citadel, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in the vision that I was by the river Ulai. Then I lifted my eyes and saw, and there, standing beside the river, was a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high. But one was higher than the other, and the higher one came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, and southward, so that no animal could withstand him, nor was there any that could deliver from his hand, but he did according to his will, and became great. And, as I was considering, suddenly a male goat came from the west, across the surface of the whole earth, without touching the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. Then he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing beside the river, and ran at him with furious power. And I saw him confronting the ram. He was moved with rage against him, attacked the ram, and broke his 2 horns. There was no power in the ram to withstand him, but he cast him down to the ground and trampled him, and there was no one that could deliver the ram from his hand. Therefore the male goat grew very great. But when he became strong, the large horn was broken, and in place of it 4 notable ones came up toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came a little horn which grew exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the glorious land. And it grew up in the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and some of the stars to the ground, and trampled them. He even exalted himself as high as the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifices were taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Because of transgression, an army was given over to the horn to oppose the daily sacrifices, and he cast truth down to the ground. He did all this and prospered. Then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said to that certain one who was speaking, How long will the vision be concerning the daily sacrifices and the transgression of desolation, the giving of both the sanctuary and the host to be trampled underfoot? And he said to me, For 2,300 days, then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. Then it happened, when I, Daniel, had seen the vision and was seeking the meaning, that suddenly there stood before me one having the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Ulai, who called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came I was afraid and fell on my face. But he said to me, Understand, Son of Man, that the vision refers to the time of the end. Now, as he was speaking to me, I was in a deep sleep with my face to the ground. But he touched me and stood me upright. And he said, Look, I am making known to you what shall happen in the latter time of the indignation, for at the appointed time the end shall be. The ram which you saw having the 2 horns, they are the kings of Media and Persia, and the male goat is the kingdom of Greece. The large horn that is between its eyes is the first king. As for the broken horn and the 4 that stood up in its place, 4 kingdoms shall arise out of that nation, but not with its power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors have reached their fullness, a king shall arise, having fierce features, who understands sinister schemes. His power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy fearfully, and shall prosper and thrive. He shall destroy the mighty and also the holy people. Through his cunning he shall cause deceit to prosper under his rule, and he shall exalt himself in his heart. He shall destroy many in their prosperity. He shall even rise against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without human means. And the vision of the evenings and mornings which were told is true. Therefore seal up the vision, for it refers to many days in the future. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick for days. Afterward I arose and went about the king's business. I was astonished by the vision, but no one understood it. There are many reasons the 70-week prophecy of Daniel 9:24-27 and the 2,300 evenings and morning prophecy of Daniel 8:14 belong together. 1. Both are time prophecies. 2. The specific terminology of vision and understanding links them, as we see in Daniel 8, verses 26 and 27. And the vision of the evenings and mornings which was told is true. Therefore seal up the vision, for it refers to many days in the future. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick for days. Afterward I arose and went about the king's business. I was astonished by the vision, but no one understood it. And Daniel 9:23, at the beginning of your supplications the command went out, and I have come to tell you, for you are greatly beloved. Therefore consider the matter and understand the vision. 3. Both interpretations of the prophecies were given by Gabriel, as we read in Daniel 8, verse 16, and I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Ulai, who called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. And in Daniel 9:21, yes, while I was speaking in prayer, the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, reached me about the time of the evening offering. 4. The only part of the vision not explained in Daniel 8 was the vision about the 2,300 evenings and mornings, sometimes translated as days, in Daniel 8:14. 5. Daniel 8 contains the vision and then a partial interpretation of it, while Daniel 9 has an interpretation only, in this case the interpretation of the only part of Daniel 8 not interpreted, which was the 2,300-day prophecy of Daniel 8:14, the one part of the vision that Daniel had not understood, as we read in Daniel 8:27, and I, Daniel, fainted and was sick for days. Afterward I arose and went about the king's business. I was astonished by the vision, but no one understood it. The information given to us in Ezra fills in the missing pieces of the prophecy's prediction in the book of Daniel, namely, when to begin historically to count the prophetic time regarding crucial aspects of Christ's ministry and work on our behalf. And then there is a chart. It shows the 70 weeks, 490 years, from 457 BC to AD 34. And that becomes the first part of the 2,300 days or years prophecy from 457 BC to AD 34, and then another 1,810 years to 1844. This week's lesson has been read by Dr. Percy Harold from Queensland, Australia. It is brought to you by Hope Channel, the Sabbath School Department, and through the services of Christian Services for the Blind. A video of this podcast also occurs on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.